How's it going, guys? Deans here, and welcome to a very special video where we actually today have some brand new cards in FIFA 15 Ultimate Team. New transfers were released onto Ultimate Team, and yeah, I'm going to take a look into having a look at who's in there, what interesting changes have been made, and yeah. So if you do enjoy this video, be sure to drop a like. I really appreciate that. Without further ado, let's get into this. First up, we have Lindegaard, who has gone from being a Manchester United player to moving over to West Brom Albion. Now, this one is interesting. Like, it's not a huge difference to anyone, but again, it works out nicely. If you want to make those little hybrids, if you want to use sort of Denmark squad, I don't know why you would, but if you want to use a Denmark squad, this is an interesting one to put in there. If you need to get some links with players from West Brom, again, it's something that works out pretty well. Moving on to the next player now is probably, well, my second, it's close to being my favourite throughout all of these. It is Van Dijk moving over to the BPL. Now, this one is a very big one because if you take a look at his stats here, 70 pace, 68 dribbling, 75 defending, and 82 physical. He is a very, very good card to have in a defense. The only problem I've ever found is he was in the Scottish Prem, which just, it sucks. It's difficult to get squad around him. But with a lot of Netherlands players moving over to the BPL now, along with like such as Depay, Wijnaldum, this just makes squads so much more interesting for the BPL, and this guy I just know I'm going to be using a lot in FIFA 16. Next up, we have Raul Garcia, who is actually a transferred card. I believe he didn't actually change league, but most importantly is he has changed position, sorry. He was a left mid card, but is now a cam. So again, an interesting one to try out. He does have some pretty decent stats. Again, I'm not expecting anything big, not a high rated card, but pretty decent stats for that kind of player, so it will be good to see what he's like as a cam. Next up, we have Isla, who is another player who was transferred around quite a lot. He went from being in the BPL, QPR, move over to Syria, and now we have him in the French league. And it'll be interesting to see what people do with this kind of player in the squads. Obviously, having him as a right back, it's a bit tough with the competition to have as your right back. We've obviously got Aurier as the PSG player most people would go for, so it'll be interesting to see whether or not people want to put him in there. Great link, however, if you want to make a nice League 1 BPL hybrid and put Alexis Sanchez in the squad. However, for FIFA 16, that'll obviously be a little bit different. So, again, bit interesting to see. Nice to have a Chilean player in League 1. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see what you can do with this guy. Next up, we have Mario Balotelli, who, not gonna lie, hasn't had a great season, but he's moved over to AC Milan. Interestingly enough, I just don't know whether it's worth it or not. It's not a player I ever feel like using in FIFA. He is a cheap player to use. It's very decent, but at the same time, an interesting move. It's always good just to kind of have your players moving over. However, an Italian player in the Italian league is just kind of standard, really. It's not really anything too outstanding. So for those Mario Balotelli fans, you have him now in Serie A. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what you can do with your squads. Next up, we have Januzaj, who again, another interesting one. One player I've never used in FIFA. His stats look great, but he's over in Dortmund now, which makes me kind of want to use him a little bit more. It just means making those hybrids will be a little bit more interesting, putting him in squads. But again, for left mids, I don't feel like I'd be going with Januzaj. He's not got the highest amount of pace that you can go with wingers. But again, a league transfer from BPL over to the Bundesliga, so might be worth trying out, especially with those 4-star weak foot and 4-star skill moves. Now we have Berbatov, again another player who is actually pretty popular with a lot of people. Moved away yet again to, I believe that is in the Greek league, so I might be wrong there. So just don't hold me on that one. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see. There's not really a lot you can do with that. I've never been one to play with Berbatov, but those dribbling and shooting stats do look pretty decent. I, however, am a pace whore, won't see myself using him, but for you Berbatov fans, he's made another transfer again, so there you have it. Xavier Hernandez now has moved on over, and he's been moving over quite a bit, obviously. He started with Real Madrid in the start of this game, back to United after being done with Madrid, and he's now obviously gone off to Leverkusen, which is interesting to have a Mexican player in the Bundesliga. Again, opens up a lot of opportunities for hybrids and stuff. Will be interesting to see how he does in Leverkusen. I feel like he will do pretty well. Bit of an interesting one there, but 86 pace, definitely a kind of striker I want to see in the Bundesliga, because for cheap strikers in Bundesliga, there isn't a high amount of options, especially with good ones, so this guy will be definitely interesting. Next up, we have Julian Draxler, one player who who, however, his transfer isn't that important. We've gone for Schalke to Wolfsburg. He's an amazing card. I've always rated Draxler. He's just an absolute beast. So had to stick him in here. There's obviously going to be a lot of cards in this video that are there, but I'm not going to be covering all of them, is basically what I'm trying to say. But Draxler I had to just put in there because this guy's absolutely awesome. Again, not moving over from a different league, but moving over to Wolfsburg. So it opens up potential opportunities for you guys to hybrid it up a bit more, but at the same time, nothing big. Next up, we have well anticipated, the most overpaid in my opinion, but we don't know, a very expensive teenager, Anthony Martial, coming from, I believe it was Monaco. I might be wrong. I don't know. The new Manchester United signing. And yeah, I don't know what to think of this guy. It's crazy. He's on 36 million, I believe. And I'm older than this guy. Like, this guy is younger than me and earning that amount. That's just absolutely crazy. But 87 pace is definitely key there for a Manchester United player. French as well, which is very, very interesting. I do like seeing players from different nations, like French players coming into the BPL. It opens again, as I've mentioned a few times, it opens a lot of potential for kind of hybrid opportunities. So that one will be interesting to try and get hold of. I feel like it's probably going to be a bit difficult to get hold of, but FIFA 16 should be interesting. Next up, another big one here. We've got Victor Ibarbo, not quite in the BPL yet, but come FIFA 16 will be in the BPL. As you see, he's moved over to Watford, which is very, very interesting. I didn't expect it when it happened, but just out of nowhere, moves over to Watford, which will be interesting. I kind of hope he stays OP next year in FIFA. There's always the talks of him getting that downgrade and just getting nerfed a bit. But if Ibarbo is still OP next FIFA, that is going to make BPL teams very, very interesting. Another one here we have now, Perisic, now moving over from Bundesliga to Serie A, which is, again, another interesting one. The Croatian player is just, there isn't a lot in Croatia that I'd kind of go with. But Perisic is actually a pretty OP card, so those Perisic lovers will now have him in Serie A. If you want to stick him in the left mid position, I mean, there is a lot of other alternatives you could go with, but Perisic is an OP player, and I know a lot of people in their start teams will stick him in, so yeah, it'll be interesting in FIFA 16 to see what he's like at the beginning. Another one now, a big fan, I'm a huge fan of this player, and again, not a league transfer, but a club transfer, gone from, I believe, Inter Milan to Juventus, which is, again, another big thing that kind of is good for hybriding around, because Juventus obviously having the better players in my opinion in Serie A, so it's good to kind of be able to like hybrid them up, and to have a Brazilian player in Juventus makes it a lot better, because obviously you then open up a lot of opportunities to stick this guy in. Like, for example, you could stick Tevez and Messi up front, stick Hernandez in cam, Neymar on the left, and just go absolutely crazy making the kind of squad you want to do with that. I, for one, am actually quite interested in trying out sticking Tevez, Neymar, Messi, Hernandez, and Cuadrado, as I get all confused up on who's there. But have those guys up front and see what kind of attack force they would be, because I feel like that would be a pretty interesting attack force right there. Next up, probably the biggest one here, and I'm not going to lie, before this video I really wanted to snipe this guy, but Kevin De Bruyne at Manchester City. What a signing that is. I am very excited to see how this guy does, because I'm a big fan of Kevin De Bruyne, and just having him in the BPL will be absolutely crazy. You can see there as well the fact that we've now got him, another Belgian player in the BPL that can link very strongly with Eden Hazard. Imagine having Hazard and De Bruyne in your squad linking up that strong. Like, that's just crazy. Again, I really want to pick this guy up, so after this video I'm probably going to spend a good while trying to snipe him. But yeah, you guys know how good De Bruyne is now. We've got him in the BPL. Make some OP BPL teams around this guy. It's just going to be absolutely insane. Another one we've got now, which is going from Bundesliga to Serie A. Blaszczykowski going from Dortmund to Fiorentina. Another, it's a strange signing for me. Like, Blaszczykowski's never really been a right mid card that I've ever gone with. And to be honest, this card is probably not going to be, again, another one I'm going to use. Right mid positions in Bundesliga, like, chances are if you haven't got the coins, you're going to probably put Aubameyang at right mid. And then obviously in Serie A, again, I'm most likely going to stick Cuadrado there, because Blaszczykowski, although he's got 87 pace, he just never really does it for me. But those guys that do want to make a bit of a hybrid around a player from Fiorentina or Poland, you've now got Blaszczykowski in Serie A. So that's, again, something interesting to try out. Another one now, which kind of breaks hearts, is Fabio Coentrão going from Real Madrid to Monaco. I'm going to make sure I get this right. AS Monaco. I'm not great with these. Yeah, not a big football fan, but moving from Real Madrid to AS Monaco, and a lot of people could probably be devastated by this, but at the same time, no more Ronaldo pack opening trolls, no more getting Fabio Carvajal thinking you got Ronaldo. But at the same time, you've now lost that perfect link between the two, which is kind of annoying, but at the same time, I prefer to use striker Ronaldo, so at this point in FIFA, it's not a big issue to me, but however, next FIFA, it will be interesting to see how to cope with that. However, again, it also opens the opportunity for you to then mix up a bit of Liga BBVA and League One, so yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of use you can put with this guy. Another card transfer now, and I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name because I'm not great with it, but this guy he's a pretty decent one, and moving into the BPL is another big thing. You've got to look at those stats on him. A 77 rated card, 73 pace, 76 defending, 84 physical. He looks like a pretty OP card, and a card I would actually really like to stick into my squad because I feel like he could be quite an effective player. Again, it's just a bit of an interesting one for me. I would really like to stick him in there because it's good to have that bit of variety in your squad. At the same time, not one I'm overly excited about at the same time. Another card now, which is just kind of, there isn't a lot of hype around, but it's an okay one. Dante obviously moving from Bayern Munich over to Wolfsburg. I feel like Dante's just kind of gone downhill. In the past FIFAs, I actually love this guy, but as you can see there, the pace has gone down. And yeah, although he's a good defender, for me, he just kind of lets me down quite a lot. So over time, I've kind of stopped using him. But again, those that want to make some nice hybrids, you've got him there at Wolfsburg now. So just kind of getting those Wolfsburg links around in your squad. And yeah, just mixing it up quite a little bit. So there you have it. As I said earlier, I haven't included every single transfer that is out. I'm going to leave a link in the description to a spreadsheet where you guys can see absolutely every single new transfers that were added into FIFA. But if you did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like. I know this isn't my usual stuff, but I do want to dabble into kind of other stuff and try some newer things. So if you did enjoy the video, be sure to drop a like. I really appreciate that. If you're brand new around, be sure to subscribe. Click it down in the comment section below as well if you guys just want to let me know what you think of some of these cards, who you're looking forward to the most. Apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next video, and goodbye.